The only place where apparently it's publicly acceptable to leave your job as the host to go tuck a child in at night and then have the expectation that I'm to host the segment. Nick, welcome back.
Thank you very much. There was a child emergency that had to be dealt with. The emergency is over. The children are all still here and, as far as I can tell, alive. Oh,
Who's
God,
not
work
alive,
from
though?
home.
What a segue. Gravitas. That was a romping again.
This was one of these situations where I got to join the Rusty Cap where I'm like, I did not see the second half of that game. There were some issues that had to be dealt with. So catch me up. I'll let you do the talking, Spawn, because I feel like Skimmy's probably done enough.
Okay, so TLDR, Gravitas have a really great early game. I think it was like 6 kills to nothing. They're just in complete control. However, it looked like... Pentanet had that early game. Gravitas like just floundering around. But it looked like they had some tools to be able to stall it out. They had one really great fight at second Rift Herald, where Suman was able to dart into the back line. It looked like they were going to be able to cause some havoc there with the Akali Shen combo. And then Pentanet just dropped Rift Herald in the bottom lane, and Gravitas didn't feel like they should hit the Rift Herald at all. And then the Herald took their whole base, is how I would describe how the end of that game went. Skimmy, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere you looked, it was just Pentanet really starting on the opponents. We kind of memed the fact that Pradev went for 2 BF swords, probably had a bit of a small lapse of judgment there, thinking, hang on, have I not got a BF sword? I'm so far ahead of the clock right now. Obviously able to transition to a fantastic 2-item spike and utilize that the two supports could group up together. They will get that opportunity because they're just so far ahead.
I can actually maybe provide some insight into that. So I actually don't mind the double BF sword build on Caitlyn. And it's something that used to be done a lot. I'm sure Rusty would remember it as well. So attack speed is actually like one of the biggest multipliers of crit in the game. Because if you have 50% attack speed, that means every 2 auto attacks you should theoretically crit, right? And if you're throwing out more auto attacks, that number gets higher and higher. And especially with Infinity Edge, the way it works, it's 225% of your AD damage. Like, it just makes the 50% multiplier like higher. Whereas Caitlyn has in her kit some really serious AD ratios on her Q and on her R in particular. So if you want to bridge the way you get to your 2 big items, if you're not building attack speed, is that you just double hand the BF swords and then you go IE into Storm Razor, and it's a really massive 2-item spike, but it's a little bit more smooth to get there if you can afford to just go the 2 BF swords.
I want to point out that both Rusty and I were like kids who were late for class. It's sort of like I sort of slide in and I'm like, all right, emergency dealt with. And then like 30 seconds later, Rusty's camera turns on and his chair is still like moving from the momentum of him having slammed his body back into it. Welcome back, buddy.
They surprised me with that one. I didn't think I'd get on camera straight away. That was
yeah, I got surprised as well. But we're back. But there are more people who are going to be on camera as well, because we have the winner of the I believe it's the final NeoSurf competition we're running. I don't have exact confirmation on that, so there may be one more. But at least the winner for the last couple of weeks of the NeoSurf comp that we've been running, you've been seeing you guys enter by submitting a video of you joining our opening titles, replacing slowly the entire cast and crew except for Spawn, and I hope that that trend continues here tonight. NeoSurf have been giving away $500 to the winner of that, and of course adding their video to the opening titles. We've got a winner to announce for this one as well. So without further ado, here is your new NeoSurf Esports OPL opening title winner.
There is a bar, and it has just been rolled over. Like, do we not have standard at all, OPL?
What was... There was...
Can we please see it again? Can we please see it again? Someone in production, re-cue that tape. Ayla?
There is so much to unpack with this. I was told that this was like a quick thing. You know, we could just cover this. We could start talking about the next game. No. we need to go through this. First of all, camera placement atrocious. The rest of the shots are all front on cameras. This one is being shot from below, so I guess this is like your dad taking a Zoom call. Second of all, the use of the bag, at least I guess, is practicing some sort of like COVID-19 safety in some capacity.
Okay, yep.
I enjoy the fact that they flick the handles like it's hair, but then give up on the idea of it being any sort of real accessory. The one thing that we're trying to do is get a video to replace Spawn dabbing, and this one ends in a dab, and this person dabs so hard that they apparently die. So, I mean, if I had known that this is... Because in some ways it's the perfect thing to win, because it's so terrible that it deserves to be in our opening titles. But if I had known that this is what
I would have
could
re-entered
won,
for the $500. That's all I'm saying.
I would have got Beck to do one. I would have got the kids to do one. I would have just gone, like, everyone I know, put one in, and I'll split the prize money 50-50. So there you go. Does anyone else have any compliments to give that?
Compliments. Next.
But in some way, I am proud that it's in there. I'm also proud of the fact that I didn't see a name of the person, so they're clearly so ashamed.
It can't replace
by the
Spawn,
low-tier
right?
effort.
Why
Like,
not?
There's no way that replaces Spawn.
Why not? I think
There's
that was
no
good
way.
enough. I think they arguably, and we've just gone how low effort that was. They still arguably put in more effort with their video than I did with my video. So I think a very deserving replacement of myself in the opening titles.
When you dab Spawn, which I know you do often, which direction do you dab in? Like in the video, did you do it that way or did you do it that way?
You're just trying to get me to dab, and I will
No,
not
you
fall
can tell
for
me.
this.
No, I won't. Did he go that way?
That way.
I think it went that way,
way.
right? I think you went like that, and then you gave that smile where you were like, "Oh God, I know they're going to use that bit." So,
It's painful to even look.
I think it's you. I think it's you, and then there's like 3 squares. So if you replaced, you have 1 square there, and then this person goes there, and if you flipped this shot, because it doesn't matter, they're wearing a bag on their head, they've already degraded themselves enough that if you flipped it and then they're dabbing in the other direction, you put those 2 dabs on at the same time, and then whoever's in the middle is getting like a hero dabbing at triangle centerpiece situation going.
New idea. I dab, and then this guy dabs in 9 frames.
Oh, right, okay.
Then.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you want the fusion dab, Nick?
Yes.
Yeah. So Nick wants someone to be this way, and someone to
I
be
want the-
this
I want
way, and someone
want
to
the
be in
Power
the middle.
Rangers dab.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And what Spawn wants is a Mexican wave dab. where
Correct.
Just you start it, and then all
Spiral
the squares just
dab.
end up.
I think spiral dab is the best.
Can I tell you what the greatest troll would be ever? And Kent, I know you're watching. I think what the opening title should be is it should be entirely this person. Every square is this person, except for the moment that Spawn dabs, and then all of them get replaced with Spawn just doing the dab, and then it goes back to just the Baghead, and Baghead is the entire opening title.
The one thing I will say about Baghead is if we make Baghead a big enough superstar, and I think we can do it with the personalities we have in this show and the throngs of fans in Twitch chat. If we put Baghead uncensored into the credits, there is a real chance that we land an Aldi sponsorship off the back of Baghead. So even though Baghead has technically picked up $500 worth of cash, we could, I'm sure he signed away, he or she, I didn't say them properly, has signed away all their rights to use of that piece of content forever, right? I'm pretty sure that's what happens when you enter a competition like this. Like, your likeliness and that of your kids for 50 years and that video are now all property of
in
Riot
perpetuity
Games.
across the universe.
Correct.
Yeah.
So maybe we could exploit this for some serious cash.
I think that is a phenomenal idea. I think that if the OPL were to have a mascot, and I think that we should now, it should be Baghead. I would like Baghead pins at the next PAX that is available to go to at MEO. I think that we should sell, if anyone, I know there's some artists in the chat watching because you guys were sending some amazing stuff. Lady Dubsy, if you're around, I reckon a Baghead painting that we could put on a t-shirt, some sort of drawing.
I think a Baghead Twitter account, like we need to get Baghead famous.
Yeah, Baghead's ego as well could be a fan-made account.
That is the best.
This is exactly the kind, like, we need a baghead emote for sure, Princess. A baghead emote absolutely needs to happen. I will ensure if it is the last thing I do on this program, I will make sure we've got a baghead emote. So see, stuff like this is where baghead was like, oh, this will be a dumb thing that I'll enter. And not only have you won yourself $500 thanks to NeoServe, you have also won yourself the hearts and minds of not only the OPL cast, but I believe the OPL fans. And so congratulations, baghead. You're the new pet of the OPL. You're the new Bryce. That's what you are. All right, we are about to jump into game number 5. It's Order versus AV. I don't want to say that this is the games where it really starts to heat up and matter, because we have seen an upset today at least. But this is the games where it really starts to heat up and matter, because obviously AV are fighting to get into that ladder. And Rusty, is this the game that they'll be able to do it?
Yeah, so to put it simply for everyone, Direwolves, AV are one game apart. AV have head-to-head, but they're also one game below right now. So they need to catch up to Direwolves. And this is one of, in a series of impossible games for AV that requires an upset for them to make the distance. And this is game 1 of that climb.
Well, I am very excited to see that climb begin. And before we throw to the game, I just want to say that Riot Gahern in chat says you can already get the merch. It's at Aldi. Well done. All right, it is time for game number 5 tonight for the first night of Super Week. It's Order versus AV, and it is coming up with the Macca's Champ Select.
Direwolves know that this has been started. This could just become a 50-50. Mir is on the back of the pit.
Oh my gosh, look how quickly Nautilus fell on down. There's the Plasma, and there's the Killer Instinct in as Vital gets himself a huge shield. Chippy's on the flank! Look at the Hextech ultimatum! He got evaporated! Direwolves are angered. They've had enough. They hit the shutdown switch and they turn it off. And there is a 34-minute ace. And just like that, Chiefs say, we've got to do something. 60 seconds in order to get themselves an Ocean Soul. Let's go for Baron.
Yeah, it's already getting chunked out, 8,000. They do so much damage to this objective. Ayla has his ultimate, though.
How can they prevent this one? Tempered Fate very early on. Dragon jumps to the back line. It's not enough. Hextech ultimatum doing what it can. The Baron getting lower and lower. 2 kills. Instantly picked up there for Harry, making a triple. The man is possessed. I'll say it again because look at it on full force here today. Order have got into their opponent's heads. They find themselves a flawless ace and say, no, that Baron is ours. And here we go, jumping into our 5th game of the evening. Avant Gaming taking on Order. They're going to need a big win here today. They've done it before. They hold a 1-1 record with Order this split, and they're going to need to try and do it again here today, Rusty. But for Order, they're warmed up, and they showed that, the earlier game today, they weren't here to play around. They meant business.
Yeah, they're not here to put boots on Caterpillar Skimmy. They're here to win League of Legends games. And they definitely showed they still have what it takes today to do exactly that. AV are the unknown quantity in this best of 1 game today. We don't know exactly what will come from them. What we can say, though, so far in this draft, Skimmy, is that last week has played on the minds of Order, already getting rid of that Nunu, not giving it to the hands of Lisa. And that is now 2 targeted bans on their red side draft phase as well, trying to get rid of some good first picks from AV.
It certainly is. The Trundle and the Caitlyn remove the away as well. We see them go for the Trundle ban quite a few times, really. Obviously, the Trundle is still very strong, but always gives them the potential to run that Scion, much like how a Nunu gets cancelled by that champion. We'll get to see what they decide to do here. It is going to be 3 games from 3 here, actually, for Avant, where they go for the Callista. They found good success with it in recent times. They've run it with a Rakan, they've run it with a Set. They're going to go for a first pick here today.
Yeah, and Orianna going to be the immediate response on the other side here. You know, one of the champions that can couple with a Set decently well. There's a lot of potential there to keep a Callista down. once you get to that team fighting, just the zone control that an Orianna has, keeping away the mid-range champion that is that Kalista, but they're going to go for some extra longer range with it. So far, I'm a big fan of the composition that Order have put together. Their support could be the Bard, right? It could be something more variable. It could be a Braum if you want a frontliner to stand in front and completely ruin the day of what is just a Kalista so far in the AV draft. But that makes things hard for them already.
It definitely does make things hard, and here's a pocket pick that Avant are well known for, the only team in the league that will play the Taliyah. They're going to play it here today. They played it in mid, they played it in the jungle. And with the Volibear locked in, you're still left to know, where could that be? Because there's still so much flexibility left for them.
Yeah, all the stops right now in this draft. It's a must-win game for AV. Every game that they have left is a must-win. So to try and keep up with Direwolves is the name of the game here in this one. And they're going to show their Taliyah flex. They're going to try and keep the cards close to their chest with the rest of it. Just now, as Order continuing to flex their strategic muscle in draft.
Okay, well, Skyner's seen a few little changes in recent times, and they think, okay, today is the day we need to try and diminish any kind of hope or dreams that Avant might have coming into this one. We've already seen the Kalista and Ezreal match today. They had the Kalista fresh, but that's been banned away, and the response was an Ezreal Bard. Well, that's been banned away as well, so tit for tat as Avant and Order look to try and finalize what their bot duo will be.
Yeah, not too surprised to see the Bard ban, nor the Thresh ban, to be honest, given the AD carries that are already locked in. But a higher priority was what we saw here from Order onto the Skarner. Now, that does make me wonder, right? Is Skarner something that has been cropping up in scrims and they were worried that AV would ban the pick that they want? Or did they really want to hide their support champion to ban things away from Appy to make sure that they get the good matchup? Because at this point, with all the focus going towards the support role, you may even consider just 5th pick counter-picking for Ayla in bot lane, which is by no means a bad thing given the form of the current player right now. He's been going insane this split.
He certainly has, but one pick that hasn't been banned away from Appy is that set. Always a pick that you had to wonder when he showcased it. He put it into very good effect, and both are phenomenal set players. But no, they're going to open up the gates here with that Braum. The grand reveal is being shown here. And we've already seen that into a set today in the Chiefs game. And we saw how it was designed to really try and keep the set at bay. So I think this is a fantastic heads-up play here from Order coming into this one. I'm going to say, okay, the set's off the cards. We're going to bring it back to basics. We're going to bring back an age-old classic, Kalista Taric.
Yeah, nothing massively surprising here draft-wise from either teams. We mentioned the Braum once the Ezreal was locked in as a potential option. You know that with Kalista, there's the Thresh or the Taric as the two key features. Rakan is another possible one if you really need some engage. But they do have the Taliyah ultimate. Kalista can still throw someone in as an engage tool, and depending on this last pick, they may even have that third option, and they will. You know, good flanks coming out from a Wukong can get it done. Looking at Order's side of the coin here, oftentimes when it's just a Skarner as an engage tool, it's very difficult to get that done. He may even play for Peel. We wait to see what this last pick is and how he wants to play it out. Renekton into Wukong, I believe, is the standard easy lane to play the Renekton in. So that would be the expected result here.
That seems to be what we're going to get. It's going to be 2 Renekton games from 2, and this time Swiper would actually get to go back to his home lane of the top side of the map. As for Paprise, he's played a fair bit of Renekton in games of the past. He's almost been kind of identical, you want to say, to that of Swiper's champion pool. So a big game for him. I mentioned earlier in the day that, you know, everyone's going to need their carry pants on full display tonight to showcase what they can do. So hopefully, knowing the familiarity of what that matchup entails, we'll get to see a little bit of excitement up there.
Yeah, this must-win game from AV. They've gone for the Volibear for Lisa, who does have a lot of initiative here as he runs around the map. Kill threat in bot lane, definitely. And at level 6, in that Rumble-esque style that Chaz is known for, Taliyah fills the exact same role. Can hit level 6, have the wall, and even have a more utility-based focus in the way that you get around the rift, because you force summoner spells out of your opponents just by using that ultimate in the first place. So it could be a repeat offender style gameplay, and all of that revolves around mid-priority right now. And so that's the thing that we have to look at the start of this game, is jungle pathing around mid lane, and how free are these mid laners to play their roles in the team. Because an Orianna wants to plant their feet if they can, and just continue to scale up, be that team fight monster, but if you snowball, you're unstoppable. Taliyah wants to push and leave, always. You have kill threat in mid lane though, that is fair to say, but you want to be influencing that Kalista lane if you're AV to try and snowball this game.
You certainly do, and whilst not as nimble as a Twisted Fate, definitely with the Weaver's Walk and look to try and navigate those map components as quickly as possible, lock off key areas and force those ganks and dives to take place and favour you. Two very different compositions here. We'll open up that in just a second as we get ourselves going into game number 5 with Avant on the blue side, Order on the red side. They're warmed up. They've smelt blood in the water already. And no doubt with a draft like this, they've added a little bit of spice into the fold of things by playing a Skarner.
So looking at Skarner, first and foremost, a couple of the changes that we saw from him. One of the big ones for me, personally, was the E change. I know it's probably not the big change, but when you used to throw that E out, it's the spell that stuns everyone if he auto-attacks them afterwards. If you hit a champion, it actually just slowed down to a snail's pace for the rest of the skill shot, for no real reason. Like, it was super annoying to deal with. So they removed that. Now that it's just a consistent missile speed, like it's an actual spell, that makes a lot of sense. The other things that they changed to Skarner were based on his damage ratios. They added a percentage of total attack damage instead of... with maximum health damage as well as a ratio instead of just total attack damage. So overall, does do a little bit more damage in general, I believe. As its maximum health, and most Skarners will build tanky instead of AD.
It's been interesting to see how they look to try and utilize the Skarner as well, because, you know, we look at what Avant have right now, a ton of CC, the ability to couple it one after each other, and ensure that they can go invulnerable there with the Cosmic Radiance, so that 2.5 second window is explosive in its nature to try and take somebody out of the fight very early on. And, you know, speaking of taking somebody out, that's exactly what, Skarner's looking to try and achieve, maybe break up that 5-man wombo. And as I say that, very aggressive trading here that is so far favouring Paprise.
Yeah, Paprise getting the good end of this one first. One major difference here, though, between both of these top lane champions is how they have sustain. Paprise's current advantage that he hasn't used his red pot, but Swiper has healing with his Q. So if he's able to get the rage bar up as he does right now, and is able to press Q inside of minion waves, then things will be fine for the Renekton. If Paprise punishes before he can get to minion waves, then it goes the way of the Wukong. As you can see, things equalize a little bit still.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, because obviously you got the sustain in the passive with the stone skin there for Wukong. So he's banking on those fights going his way, whereas no doubt Renekton is wanting those Q cooldowns being used on repeat. Very deep ward here found by Paprise. That's obviously allowing the wave for him to run away from, to get that down. Keeps tabs as to where the Skarner might be. That's valuable information to once again snowball these individual lanes like the Chaz, and in particular this Kalista Taric.
It's a weird ward, man. Like, what does that actually show? It shows a small choke point that people have bushes to get around it. Exhibit A. Only's here.
Well, he is here, and Lisa's here as well. And they might just showcase, hey, I've got 2 buffs, hey, me too. And just walk away from that one, back to where they belong, which is in the jungle, farming up camps, and trying to get to level 6 as quickly as they can.
And to give some credit to Paprise, you can see in part the reason for that ward placement is so that Only doesn't sweep the ward. And so it does remain for the duration of the ward's lifetime. Whereas if he placed it in Tribush, Only would have instantly swept it and got some extra for himself. That is one of the main reasons for it. But if Order know that the ward is there, and they did, it provides nothing, unfortunately, for AV.
Well, we'll see if this provides anything, because that's a ward in a lane, as Lisa postures up to go for that potential gank. You can see that Only was palming down bot side, but it says, hang on a minute, maybe I need to go back, but Lisa going to feign the recall attempt, as he's still investing time top side, but with that wave crashing on in, seems a little bit unlikely for Swiper to get caught on out.
I think it's pretty casual in mid lane as well, just farming their way through. We saw some early aggression from the Kalista in bot lane. As my standard check seems to have become skimmy in every Kalista game, it is the lethal tempo build, so not looking for that level 1 all-in style threat with an exhaust there for Violet. Definitely just want to have the pressure when they can. You know, find the stuns, be aggressive, but otherwise just control the lane. And Kalista should always realistically have control of that lane over the Ezreal early, as Hayri being chased down.
He is being, and Harry's holding onto that flash for as long as possible, ensuring that do I need to use it, or do I have the protection of my team? And it is the latter, as Zayla will jump across that blue buff wall to his protection and to his aid, as the shield will be there, and the mitigation will give him just a few extra buffs. That will say a little bit too tanky for us to take on down now.
Swiper continuing to just crash waves in top lane. Wants to keep it at this state for a little while. Teleport was also used there by Paprise earlier. So any advantage that Swiper can find before he resets is actually quite significant. If he keeps that Wukong under turret like he had, he gets the choice of saying, when do I recall? What do I purchase? And he's gone for the cloth armor with his longsword consciously there as well with some boots. So looking to control Paprise even more so in this laning phase, push him in constantly and reduce the damage that he is taking. Most important.
Certainly will be, as both are so delicately close to level 6. Halfway there, but Swiper's going to come in aggressively, having gone for that item shop. Going to showcase what he can do and what the ability looks like when it comes to the Battle of Sustain. Proves to him that he has the advantage. As Chaz going to unleash a fair bit of damage there. The minefield will look to try and clear out that wave as quickly as possible and ensure that Hayri won't be able to do the same there with a shockwave.
Yeah, things pretty even in general in mid. Chaz doing quite well for himself considering the teleport was there from Hayri also, to make sure that he's even in farm and has got his reset off fresh there as well with 3 corrupting potions stacked. So things going decently here for AV through the early stages of this game. And that does start to bring about the question that we'll have to ask, give me 6 minutes into this one, is what does scaling look like in this? And I do think that, you know, Order have a pretty terrifying late game. The Ezreal, Orianna start to scale up nicely. And a Braum in general does mean their skirmishing is pretty deadly. But AV definitely still have some scaling options there. It's just much more reliant on being grouped up and hitting some skill shots together. You know, Volibear has got the stun, could flash engage, could hit a big ultimate, sure, but he'll just die if he doesn't have the Taric there, you know, to turn him invulnerable. And the same can be said for a lot of AV. So if they're grouped and they have Appy into the mix, they're dangerous.
Certainly will be, as that's going to be a tip for tat in the mid lane as Shockwave goes out, locks him in place. But Lisa's here to try and turn things around as he's going to get exhausted as he jumps on in. Doesn't have level 6, bear in mind, so can't go for that slam dunk on top of his head whack-a-mole style. But both mid laners are definitely feeling the burden of execution with the pain and punishment put on towards their HP bars. More attention is being shown mid-wave, but as we now pan to the top side, it continues to be a bit of a skill matchup as to who can get the better half of the sustain and trade.
And Ayla is playing Braum like he's Bard. I've very rarely seen the man in bottom lane. He's going to be here to catch the wave and experience at the same time, but you've got your tier cull power spike for an Ezreal. So it definitely doesn't exist on Summoner's Rift right now, and Ayla's way of dealing with this is say, we'll push the wave out, we'll reset, I'll get first move and start to influence the map, and only has been able to free farm as a result.
Certainly has been, and Lisa still does not have level 6. That's problematic because that means that only can go for these chains, locks them in place, forces out the stun, and forces out the first blood, going the way of Order.
And how easy is that, right? Get level 6, massive experience lead for Only. You can see the farm difference there as well. And the second he gets active onto the map, Lisa gets instantly punished for being inside the enemy jungle. Nice pick up there by Order. And a big start on the snowball as a complete jungle item will only become more shortly after.
No doubt felt deceivingly safe given the fact that his bot lane were pressed up against the turret, and he was thinking, well, there's surely no way that Order's duo would want to sacrifice this wave to assist. Well, answer is they do, and we've got a Cosmic Radiance there to give him a little bit of a protection. Yeah, there was just no get-out-of-jail-free card between the two of them there, so a small little advantage that Order can look to achieve. The first ultimate finds a great deal of success.
And Chaz really has been locked down. You know, one of the big things that we mentioned during the draft phase is how scary it can be for a team when you've got a Kalista Taric and you've got a Talia freely roaming around the Rift, but has been so locked in that lane for the moment, dealing with a Braum coming up constantly, dealing with the vision that's just been residually left by that Braum as well. And now going to have to deal with a Skarner that has the kill and is going to be quite large. Plays onto the mind of the mid laner of AV here and really holds him back. And that definitely, to me, is one of the core tenets of being able to take down AV, is keep Chaz in his place. Don't let him get out of his chair.
Certainly is. We've seen him definitely look to have some of the highest KDAs in this league, and if you can look to abuse him, then he is in a bit of trouble as he's forced to burn that flash. Fantastic bit of pressure exerted there by Order, because that Skarner did not have his flash, so it wouldn't be as easy just to catch him off guard there with an impale from afar. But that will mean they can continue to keep him locked in mid lane there, Rusty, yeah.
Talia leaves lane. Talia clears a ward. Gets ganked, has to flash away. That's the way that this game's going right now with all the control that Order have got around that middle lane. As this starting to look a little bit dire as well. Swiper with real kill threat here, especially with that Fury and Ultimate available. Paprise has to respect more.
Certainly does. He's getting closer and closer. It's a very, very healthy Crocodile at this stage, having gone for the Tiamat to outpush that of the Wukong as well. Avant are going to say, well, we're not finding success in these fights so far. We haven't really found that opportunity because we weren't level 6 at the time, so we're going to really focus on these objectives instead. They got the first Dragon, they're going to get the first Herald as well. And Avant has found himself in a healthy position as well. Up by 20 CS, yes, hasn't found a kill to snowball it any further, but it's looking a lot more promising than what we saw in the Kalista-Ezreal matchup earlier today.
Yeah, the one thing AV definitely still have is the objective control. If they're able to flip the map and reset for this second Drake, then they give themselves a win condition definitely here also. Not only do they have the Rift Herald to place to try and get some extra gold back and kind of equalize the difference that has been etched out by Order from those kills, they do still have control in terms of that 2v2. You know, Violet fighting himself with a nice CS lead while moving around the map playing for his team is doing wonders for the side of AV, getting them to those first item spikes and really giving them an avenue of entry into this game. And we have been talking about the things that Order have going for them, and it's been going well, but it's only resulted in a single kill. The things still need to accelerate at a certain point, and AV still with well and truly a fighting chance and some strong win conditions.
They certainly are, and those win conditions come in the fact that their mid and bottom lane, well, their mid and ADC, I should say, are actually in the lead when it comes to gold, and going into two users that are wanting to stack up those tiers to hit that next level of power. So, whether or not that is a window in which Avant can look to try and capitalize on, if they can get that Blade of the Rune King on this Kalista nice and early, if they can try and donate as much gold across to it with that Herald as well. That could well and truly ensure that not only do they continue to achieve objectives like this, but they're quite happy to wait.
And Lisa running down to this bottom lane to me is a clear sign that they want to immediately summon the Rift Herald and pressure the bottom lane if they can. Not immediately summon it, of course, to charge, but you can see the plates available on this structure. They get the plate and a half down, and Herald summon, and it's free diving. Yeah,
here it is. They want to go for that kill right now. Ayla on the retreat, coming back to his teammate, but it's too little too late. Rare's already fallen on down. Swiper comes in with a teleport, now going for a 1v3, says, hang on a minute, you can't just take up my AD carry as easy as that. It's a fantastic situation here for Violet. He just pulled the trigger on his ultimate and said, get in that fight, let's make something happen.
Yeah, they get the dive, they get the kill, they get a teleport from Swiper also, so free time for Paprise in top lane. He didn't match the teleport, he has his up and available, and he holds onto that one knowing that his team's going to be able to get out perfectly fine. Pressure can continue for that bottom lane outer turret as well as the potential of a plate in top lane. That's big by AV, and that gold difference was 1,000, now 400.
Yep, that's definitely done a big deal to shrink up that gold lead, and I'm sure Paprise is incredibly happy to have that sort of level of communication and trust in your teammates to say, yes, I'm free, I can get out, there's no trouble, don't burn that teleport, find that individual advantage, because, you know, as much as we were praising Kalista for being so far ahead of this Ezreal, Swiper was starting to get a little bit of hand here when it comes to comparing him to that Wukong.
Yeah, definitely, we're starting to get a little bit too obnoxious. But he's going to reset himself back up to top lane Swiper, and without that teleport up, you would expect that an immediate reset here from AV should still bring them back down towards bot lane. They will still want to use that Herald down there and break that bot lane out of turret while they have time. There's no other objectives really on Summoner's Rift available. As Order are going to Chad Lisa away from this one while this bottom lane's looking. The minion wave may be a little bit too large there, but it's just a matter of time, it feels like. And first step, Skimmy, is always going to be, can we get the Talia into the mix here? Can we finally get him freed up from mid lane Chaz and influence a side lane?
Yeah, I mean, you can see the frustration they've been trying to unlock him for these first 14 minutes, right? But now Violet says, I've got that Blade of the Rune King, I've got that power spike, it's my time to shine, it's my time to showcase what I can do. I say that, but Lisa actually felt the burden of that early gank and the early first blood has only forces him to use the ultimate very defensively to regroup to make this a 3v3 in the bottom lane. Avant will come up with a small lead as a result because they will summon that Herald. But unfortunately for them, the plates have just fallen on down. But that shouldn't change the outcome because this headbutt should pack a punch and get them the first turret.
Yeah, it'll be the first turret regardless, and good zone defense there actually from Appy, standing at the edge of the river and preventing them from walking in, making sure they're not going to be able to hit the Rift Herald whatsoever. Order's going to take their small victories elsewhere on the Rift. You can see Hayri completely freed up, going to have a look. Only with that flash available, definitely going to try and find himself some targets for that ultimate if he can. And he's gone for the Phase Rush build here as well, so if he's able to apply damage just prior, so if you go like E, flash auto attack, Q, and then ultimate, you're going to literally sprint that opponent back towards your team. A little bit different combo here to look for Only.
Yeah, flash or no flash, definitely got to really put the pedal on your face and say, yeah, have fun with that one. And what's interesting for me is how Order continue to show that aggression in the bot lane, despite the Herald getting themselves, or making them lose the first turret. They were continuing to look for those picks to say, look, hey, if Paprise decides to teleport in, this wave is going to crash on in, and I'm up 30 CS at the moment. Imagine what I could do if he goes away. I mean, it would be catastrophic. First turret for sure.
Yeah, definitely could make things difficult in top lane. Any kind of extra advantages may just prove to be far too much. Swiper with the lead that he already has.
Whoa.
You know, well, the Trinity Force is there.
That's huge.
And it is a Wukong that can now have more of an influence on the map. That is still, in contrast to this Renekton, a pretty weak champion right now. Waiting to see any big purchases coming out of Swiper, but if it's the Black Cleaver straight away, he's going to be a monster to deal with in team fights. And I think I would rather have the Renekton at this stage, especially with the level 11 to 10 advantage, over the Wukong in a team fight.
Certainly would, and it's fantastic timing as well. Coming up for that third dragon that will potentially put themselves on a soul point. You can see what this really translates to in that top lane, especially 6k to that of just under 5. Pretty big gap has been achieved there as the mid lane has now been all but evened. 1k gold lead here found by Only. Just the pressure of all that farm early on, that first blood as well, just continues to find merit. But you can really start to bank your bets here on Violet. The fact that his Kalista has managed to get that solo kill, or managed to get that kill over the Ezreal, I should say, and to try and find that 2-item power spike where they can look to try and shine. Now, out comes the Weaver's Wall, prevents the disengage. Ela can jump away. Out comes the Cosmic Rain. It's a Stormbreaker, but now the wall actually works against them because they're unable to find a target to actually stick onto. Their 2.5-second window, very short as it is, needs to find something during that time. There's going to be the Cyclone R1. Can they find R2? No, it's too little too late. You said it. You'd prefer the Crocodile, and he does too because he'll take down the Wukong.
Yeah, a little bit of an iffy combo there from AV. Yes, you may have locked someone down, but he's just going to dash his way over the wall. You're forced to use your summoner spells and flashes to close distance to try and find something there. But you're doing it onto an Ezreal. He's just going to use his E. He's going to dash away to safety. Rare gets out with the flash still available. And then it was a matter of AV saying, uh-oh, we've used way too much way too early. We're going to have to do something here. We have no choice. And Order are the ones who end up with the pick, and they slow down the win condition. And AV have curiously moved immediately over to this. Hayri has teleport, so even though he's bot lane right now, the fight's still up at the Herald. So we should be looking at that.
Yep, there's the teleport. They want to go for this fight. Look at Swipe on a nice little angle right now, going for a flank. Bear in mind, Paprise is not even here, so it's a 5v4 that actually favors Order to start things off. Massive shockwave locks in place 2. They want more, they'll find 2. And they might look to try and find 3 and 4. There it is, a double kill for Skarner. Only just continues to commit as a carry. He does it all, no matter what champion he plays. But he may fall on down in the end. He started off things fantastically. He'll fall on down there to the Dazzle. The Wukong will come on through. The Flash, that was creative. I'm not sure what it was looking to achieve. That means he falls on down. And yeah, that's a quad kill where Hayri, he's just playing PvE. He's just farming turrets.
Yeah, I just don't think that was the hill to die on if you were AV, running straight away from the Drake to the Herald after we just spoke about all of the major cooldowns that were missing from them. No Taric ultimate, no Talia ultimate, no Wukong to join the mix as well. And they chose to take the 5v5 against Order, who have the teleport from their mid lane and the one person in the side lane. Swiper kicks this one off nicely by flashing onto Chaz, forcing him out of the fight completely. And then it's the only an Ayla show from here is, yes, Ayla does get ignited, stunned by Taric, and will drop, but only by so much time. At the end of the day, this is the one saving grace AV had, is that Order chased a little bit far, and they punished them. And then Appy, creativity kills. I believe he flashed the correct direction, then clicked the wrong direction, so started walking back. And that hurts him.
Yeah, it certainly does. Bit of unfortunate timing there for him, as that's going to really start to allow Order to build up a gold lead in their favour, to showcase that not only do we win that skirmish, but we also stole away that Herald you were so keen to try and take as a result. And Hayri, very happy with how that worked on out. Found infinite macro advantage. There's the phase rush coming on through, as Honey can chase on down.
Jugga, jugga, jugga.
And much like the theme tune, force Paprise to burn his ultimates to run. He's coming.
He's covered.
It's like a shark in the water, trying to find where you're at.
He's just walking him down. Really keeping Paprise humble there, at the very least. Is going to force him away from his own inner turret. They'll push the wave in. really nothing else to do on the map at the moment, so I think only he was just testing his movement speed, and at the end of the day, it was well played from Paprise to actually keep himself alive. You know, using the clone, using the Trinity Force proc, ulting his way to safety for that movement speed bonus there as well. Does survive, albeit barely, from the sheer tenacity that Only has.
20 minutes in here, Rusty, and Rare has avoided that awkward spot where the Callista was definitely getting strong. He's actually the one to hit the 2-item spike first, as the Runans now is there to match. So a fair bit of tankiness with the Iceborne Gauntlet builds. It's done a fair bit, actually, to catch up that gold gap that was against him. About 1,200 gold he was down before. He's closed that gap up to around about 400, I want to say. Henry just quite content being the one who actually got unlocked from that lane. He just continues to sit in these side lanes and pressure turrets whilst the rest of his team are running around like a pack of hungry hyenas just looking for kills.
He is going to be strong-sided though now. Wherever Order plays, it will be in the jungle quadrant near Hayri, as the teleport belongs to Swiper in the current moment. They're looking to pressure mid lane if they can. Still easier said than done. I do believe that most of the control and pressure that Order will get is around Only and Ayla, looking to get wards down and have advantages through their strengths. But if you get Hayri into the fights, there'll be some serious damage. But you can see right now from the way they're playing, Skimmy, they're looking to just farm for sure. Hayri has 0 mana. He's looking to force waves in, get some more money into his pockets. Should have his upgraded item now. Things will be good to go for Order from this point.
3 turrets to 1. The Herald will be summoned. The next Dragon up in 30 seconds. Avant are grouping because they want to utilize this Cosmic Radiance to fantastic effect. They know that they're at their strongest at a full 5v5. Order quite content to carry on pushing these side lanes and throw them curveballs of like, well, if you're willing to give us all this, then we're not going to pass up the opportunity. We'll get to see what they do now, as that Herald will look to get another headbutt off. Tier 1 turret has already gone, so that's looking to go for a Tier 2. And Avant might just get bullied out here, as the Weaver's Wall have to be used to good effect. As you can see, Swiper was on the flank.
This may be the last chance for AV. It is only a 6,000 gold difference, but they're forcing themselves into this hole. They're flashing.
Yeah, Lace flashed on forward. When will that Stormbringer coming out? Who's he going to choose as that key target? There it is. 1 man. There it is. 3-man Shockwave. They're going to try and turn things around. Both the AoEs connect. Paprise survives to tell the tale, as the Cyclone delivers the damage that they needed in that situation. Swiper, however, did find that flank in the end, and with the Dominus active, he's looking to chase them through and burn them all down low. Only going to flash on forward and make mincemeat of that one. They're going to look for that full 5-man ace. They're going to find it here today. It's going to be a flawless one at just that, but Ayla, unfortunately, had to ruin the fun. And they will not only prevent the Dragon, they can just go straight across to the Baron too.
Yeah, Order looking very clean here, Skimmy, but to be honest with you, the Swips is unstoppable in this one as well. Fantastic showing here from the top laner of Order. Controls his lane, controls the game, good teleports coming in as well. They're going to be able to go towards this Baron at the same time as the second Ocean Drake of the game. We didn't even get to see what happens with that Baron. We'll watch the fight one more time. Taric comes in as early as he can with that ultimate. It's a pretty good timing, honestly, as well, to enable Violet, but instantly damaged by Hayri as it expires, half health him. And just like that, you know, the follow through from Order. Swiper was already there, his ult was channeling, so he was getting that rage proc. And they save all their summoner spells, and their ability to chase down as well in their team composition is absurd. And AV put themselves into a hole, and Order make sure that they go where they belong, and is that they stay in the hole.
They're definitely locked in solitary confinement right now. This Renekton has not been punished. One of the teams that like to draft it, and it's found a fantastic effect. You talk about early game champion, you talk about mid game starting to fall off. It's going to be a world away until he starts to fall off right now, because the Death Stance is complete. He's got himself that stopwatch as well. And when it comes to just their durability to force these fights, they're showcasing that, you know, if you ever go running away, that's you done for the fight. They're only at their strongest Avant when they're running forward towards a key target. As soon as they're starting to back on out, they just lack any kind of, I want to say, scary nature to try and force that turnaround, it seems.
Yeah, the way that this game is, I don't think AV are very scary anymore at all. The Callista has kill threat if isolated and 1v1ing someone over time, but I'm not sure there's many targets to even do that with anymore. You know, once you've got your Iceborne Gauntlet there for an Ezreal, it's nearly impossible to be the Callista because he just keeps you at a distance and throws Qs. We already mentioned the potential of this Orianna as well. The second the Shockwave is there, the threat of just existing if your Violet is it's very difficult to be you. And then, of course, you've got your Renekton in top lane. Still has his flash just quietly. He's going to be able to keep you down. So in other words, there's no real world where Violet can do anything from this point onwards. They had their shot, and it's a very tough time. He's going to have to go above and beyond.
He's trying to go above and beyond right now as Paprise jumps in, receives the Dazzle, goes for the R2, but the Cyclone gets cancelled as he falls on down. That's a 4v5 as they enter into the Avant base. And I say enter, Oli is literally forcing his way into that base as he looks to go for the Impale. He will find it, but the bear himself will jump on in, and the Stormbringer HP buff will not be enough. A swipe at the Mad Lad himself, Dominus gone, doesn't care, uses the flash, guarantees himself a kill. And ensures that Rare, with the nimble nature of the Nezreal, will get himself a double as well. They are just looking to have fun with their opponent right now and showcase that you can have all these ultimates, you can have this synergy as a full 5v5, but you're so far behind now. 15 kills to 4. It accounts for nothing.
Yeah, that was the Mad Max moment there, Skimmy. Paprise and Lisa spray paint their mouth, yell, "Witness me," and int into order because they don't have many other options left. Appy now just going to be stuck to slowly die to the damage of order as the game is inevitably going to end here. Dominant performance coming out of the boys from Melbourne.
Certainly is. Back-to-back games that have ended very, very quickly. They've definitely had their wheat bix this morning. They're ready to rock and roll in Super Week, and 2 games on the same day. Showcases that they are no team to laugh at right now. They're going to go for the end here very early on, and for Avant, it's a win that they needed to try and begin the step that would no doubt turn into a run, but now the pressure is really on as they and Direwolves look to still fight for that 5th and final spot.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any easier here if you are AV, if you've lost that game. Your next 2 games, Legacy, Pentanet.gg, and we just saw what PGG are capable of earlier as well. We'll get a second stress test from them today against Legacy as our last game of the day. But Order just showed AV that this is what a top team looks like in the OPL, and you're going to have to really step up to even be able to make the playoffs to have a chance at taking them on again.
They certainly are, Rusty, and as you said, our final game here to open up Super Week will be Legacy taking on Pentanet.gg, so don't go anywhere, we'll see you shortly.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.